Hello, happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome to Meeting of the Minds Mondays. I am your host, Intellects, and we have a good topic to talk about today. So, the topic today is stay woke, present versus the present, and know the difference. All right, so we are going to jump right in for the sake of time. So when you think about presents, when you think about gifts, you think about how, it's something that is given to you, not something that you have to work for, not something that you actually have to do anything to get. It's a gift, but a gift is not a gift until it's given. So when you think about that, that's present, something that you don't have to work for, something that you don't have to do. When it comes to being present or the present, you have to do work to stay in the present. You have to do work to be mindful of where you are at all times, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and just being open to learning how to stay in the present. Welcome to Meeting of the Minds Mondays. Our topic today is stay woke, presence versus the present. Know the difference. You can chime in and share what you feel the difference is between presence versus the present. And we are going to, watch a couple clips and then talk about them. All right. Hello, welcome to Meeting of the Minds Mondays. Our topic today is stay woke, presence versus the present, know the difference. You can share in the chat what you think the difference is, how you differentiate it. What I was saying is that a gift is something that you don't have to work for. It's given to you. You don't have to put anything into it, any effort. You just have to accept it. When it comes to being in the present, you have to work to stay present, because we can get caught up in the past or in the future. But when you are present in the moment, it takes a lot to stay there, right? Welcome to Meeting of the Minds Mondays. So we are going to watch a video and go over some, highlights from that. All right.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, back. So I'm going to start by telling you something that I'm currently working on. I am preparing to run a half marathon in May. And preparing to run a half marathon means you actually have to run, right? That's part of the training process. And as I was running my long runs, I started building up to 6 miles. I realized that my knees would be hurting. And I go online, I Google it, like, what's happening with my body? Why does this hurt? And I realized I've been running incorrectly basically for my entire life. Like, I learned to run and it became a habit, and I don't land on the right part of my foot. So the next time I go out for a run, I bundle up because it's cold out here. It's not a joke, right? It's like 30 degrees every day. I made sure that my sneakers were laced up, and as I took a step, I focused on where is my foot landing. Now for an entire hour, all I'm thinking about is where is my foot landing. I don't run because I enjoy it. Like, I don't like running. So for me, this thought of, oh my God, I'm gonna have to keep doing this, like thinking about where I'm landing, was crazy. But it was the best run I'd had so far. And it was because I wasn't thinking about, what's the next song that Pandora's gonna play? I hope it's a good song. Or, God, I really wish that this run was already over. I was focused entirely on what am I doing this very moment. And that to me, like, I'm a nostalgic person. I'm a planner. I'm always in the future and the past. I'm never here. So So that was really transformational for me. And as the week went on and I started really paying attention and my runs got better, my knees started hurting, I started focusing on the people running alongside me. And let me tell you, if you're a runner, that one time that you're like at mile 4 and you're tired and exhausted and that guy's like, yeah, like that changes your life. Like, yeah, I could do 4 more miles, right? And that moment that you share with them or that way you get to them, it's so important. And I started thinking about what are the other things that I'm doing on automatic, that have become a habit, that I haven't realized I'm doing in bad form. I ride the metro every day. And the metro is a perfect example because you have like 50 people on a train who are all pretending they cannot see each other. Like we are not here right now. And so I'm like, no, I'm not going to read a book. I'm not going to tweet. Like, I'm going to look around for me, which is a dangerous thing, right? So this guy catches my eye, and I'm like, no, don't see me. I'm not here. And he starts walking over, and he's just like, I need directions. Like, I'm really lost. I'm not from the area. Like, how do I get to Union Station? He starts talking to me. He wasn't dangerous. He wasn't crazy. He wasn't hitting on me. Like, he just needed to catch someone's eye so that someone could help him. I was at the Redbacks on Valentine's Day. I'm, picking out a movie, and I noticed that there's this girl. She's really anxious. She's waiting for me to finish. And I'm like, well, why don't you just come watch with me? Like, let's just go through the selection. If you find the movie, you go ahead and, I'll keep going. And we talked about the Oscar nods. She gave me a recommendation for a movie. We argued over bad flicks. I realized there was someone in my neighborhood who was really nice and who had good taste in movies. I think about how we often deal with homeless people, right? That's something that becomes automatic. I don't have change, or I can't see you. And it's like maybe they were asking for a granola bar. Like maybe they want you to sign something for them. Maybe they want you to buy a newspaper, but how often our response is automatic, whether or not the scenario or situation is different. And I had to check myself. Because even performing, which is something I do all the time, became automatic. I would be in front of an audience of hundreds of people, and I'm thinking about dinner. I'm thinking about my next line. I'm thinking about that poem I messed up 10 minutes ago. And there are people waiting to hear what I'm saying, and I can't see them. Right? Being the human connection, being present, it's not about grand gestures. I'm not asking you to go make friends with 10 new strangers. It's those little moments of asking a parent, a loved one, a coworker, how are you? And actually listening to the response. Not waiting to get to the point of what you really want to talk about. It's saying goodbye in the morning to your roommate or to your significant other and actually saying goodbye, not rushing out with a see you later, right? Because time is precious. I was a school teacher in Prince George's County. I taught 8th grade. My students went on to go to high school in PG County. As I'm going through this whole process of being present and thinking about what I'm doing, I found out that there were 2 teen deaths in Prince George's County. That's 6 in 6 months. Teenagers, high school students, killing each other. And for me, this hit home because these are my kids. These are my students that I sent out. And I started thinking, those 2 years that I was teaching there, was I aware of what was happening in their lives? Was I speaking to them? Was I getting to know them? Or was I more focused on my next lesson? This standard you need to learn. This test that's going to happen in a couple of months. What ripple effect are we creating? We all have 13.1 miles that we're trying to run, right? We all have a finish line in sight. But my best runs are the ones where I can see the people running alongside me. My best performances are when I can actually see you, when I can feel you, when I know you're here with me. My best days are when I can help make someone's load a little bit lighter. And I wonder if our ancestors dreamt this. If together in their respective tongues, they cast forward a net of collective premonitions, opened their eyes to the dawn and saw us, the reflection of their children's children in the horizon. We honor them. Every time we meet the challenge of the present day and do not succumb to complacency or the comforts of privilege, every time we face ourselves and force ourselves to be less so that others can be more, what key don't we hold knowing well that we own all of the lines? We are the printers of blues and of blueprints, using our pens, our words, our lives to create bridges across the backs of the broken, and don't serve because of an award you believe you deserve. Use your hands and your words and the seeds will emerge. We may not see the fruit, but we carry the roots and realize we move forward every time that we give back. It's the truth. Because with goodwill and sweat, we heal the world where it hurts. Living is short. Never regret the moments if you meant them or how you spent them. And one day, our children will wonder if we were the ones that dreamt them. If we were the ones that dreamt them. Thank you.
All right, y'all. So that was Elizabeth Acevedo, and she's a woman of many talents. If you don't know her and you want to look her up, definitely, she is a great person. So we are talking about presence versus the present and knowing the difference, right? So when she talked about running and training for a half marathon, she discussed how she was always focusing on the next step, and focusing on the landing. But in order to be present, you have to focus on the step that you're in and not focusing always on the next step. Focus on the landing, focus on the end part, but don't stay there, don't live there. Have it in your mind as a destination, but enjoy the journey along the way. Because a lot of times, if we're so focused on the end goal or the destination, we miss out on the actual journey, and we end up looking back like, wow, why didn't I enjoy it while I had it? And that could be, business steps, that could be school, that could be whatever it is that you think of. You can fill in the blank. But when we focus more on the journey, on each step as it comes, instead of always being focused on what's coming up next, we'll be able to live better in the present. So another thing she said is, be present in your mind as well. So if you're having a conversation with someone, don't think about what you're going to say while they're talking. Engage with what they're talking about first, and then focus on what you're going to say afterwards. That's a part of being actively listening to someone, right? That's something that I too am learning to get better at, is to be present in the moment in every area, mentally as well. Because you can be present in a place but not present mentally. So that is a big one. Another thing that she said that was really powerful is that we may not see the roots, but we may carry the fruit. So that goes to say that whatever you do now, you may not be the only person to accomplish that goal. So you're on a journey, your destination is fill in the blank. You may be the one to start it, but you may not be the one to finish it. Or someone else might have started it and you're the one to finish it. But either way, your part is just as important. But that does not mean for you to focus on the whole blueprint, the whole platform, and make it as if you are responsible for the whole thing, when you are just a portion of the bigger picture. So if we try to remember that, we'll remember that, like we talked about earlier, having a present or getting presents or getting gifts are great. There's no effort in those things once you receive it, but you have to accept it. When it comes to being present, you actually have to put the work in. All right. So welcome to those that just tuned in to Meeting of the Minds Mondays. Our topic today is Stay Woke, presence versus the present, and knowing the difference. Okay. So we are going to move into our next video.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it right now. I think I found the single biggest productivity hack of 2021. It's this Google Chrome extension called
So, how many of you found secret to success and happiness? But we all know what it is, don't we? As a great Zen masters teach, it's staying connected with our smartphone. But do these distractions really make us effective or make us happier, or in this case, maybe burnout. So today, together, right here, let's take a step to more mindful life. Mindfulness has been a part of Buddhist traditions for many centuries. It's a practice and a way of thinking that help us be present with an experience in a non-judgmental way. So, where your thoughts right now? I hope your mind is here. However, most of the time, our mind is somewhere else. It is somewhere in the past or in the future. So we suffer more because we either stuck on something that has happened in the past, or worry about something that hasn't happened yet. So if you are present, you are free from such suffering. But also, your action at the present moment can create your past and determine your future. So that's why being the present is very powerful. Also, it's important to keep your objective point of view, because main source of suffering is your subjective point of view. So we judge something to be good or bad, but we are just comparing it with some ideal situation. So if you are non-judgmental, or if you can keep your objective point of view, you can reduce your suffering as well. Then, main practice of mindfulness is meditation. Meditation is good for conditioning you to be more mindful and non-judgmental. So let's try meditation right now. So step straight and close your eyes. And inhale slowly for 5 seconds. And exhale slowly for 10 seconds or even longer. And try to feel how the air entering your body and exiting your body. Just feel your breathing. So, how you feel right now? Lately, this ancient Buddhist practice, keeps changing. Actually, personally, I can see the changes at my temple. I started having more corporate and business school groups in my meditation classes. In fact, various corporations like Google, LinkedIn, Ford Motors, and more, they're using meditation as a part of corporate wellness programs. Because neuroscience have helped us to understand how meditation can influence our brain and emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, consists of 6 elements: self-awareness, self-control, social awareness, social management, attention, and outlook. So many studies have shown that regular practice of meditation can increase the activity and mass of the region of the brain associated with emotional intelligence. Especially if you can improve your self-control and attention, you won't be disturbed. And you can pay undivided attention to what you're doing at a certain moment. Also, relaxation is a key to be more mindful. When you're relaxing, actually your part of brain, region of brain, associated with attention and self-control, their activities goes increase. Then actually the oxygen consumption in brain gets low, you're relaxing. So as you see on this graph, when you sleep 6 hours, you're really relaxing. But when you do 20 minutes meditation, the oxygen consumption level goes down to the same level as you sleep 6 hours. So that means you're really relaxing. Also, the carbon dioxide level of brain increases if you do meditation more than 20 minutes. And the increase of carbon dioxide level in your brain stimulates your brainstem. And your brain starts releasing serotonin. The serotonin is the neurotransmitter that further relaxes us. So you have a better self-control skill and attention. So that's why meditation is an effective way to be more mindful. So now you're ready to be more mindful. Regular practice of meditation can relax you more and improve your attention and self-control. So that's case you can experience each moment of your life fully and mindfully. As the Buddhist teachings tell us, everything is impermanent. Time keeps moving forward, not backward. So let's not miss any precious moment with your beloved one. Actually, this is my daughter. When this picture was taken, she was 2 years old. I mean, now she's 3.5. She's quite handful. But she always make me aware how powerful to be present in the moment. Your past and our future, depending on our present moment. And the moment is now.
Okay, all right. So our speaker for that video, his name is Takafumi Kawakami. I hope I pronounced it right. And he is a Buddhist, but a lot of things that he discussed was very informational and stuff that we can apply to our lives, even if we don't practice Buddhism, right? So he said a lot of key points. I'll just go over some of them. So one thing he said is, if you're present, you're free from suffering. A lot of times anxiety, depression, and a lot of different mental disorders come from either looking too far back in the past or too far in the future. When you're present, you're not really worrying about what was or what will be, but you're focused on what is. He said your action can create your past and determine your future. So keep an objective point of view. And I don't know if you participated in the meditation part of the video, but meditation is a great way to be present. He said that it conditions you to be more mindful and less judgmental. It influences the brain and your emotional intelligence, and it also increases brain activity. He said you can pay undivided attention to what you're doing when you make meditation a part of your daily routine. He also talked about how relaxation is a key component to meditating, and how it's equal to looking at the brain level of someone that's sleeping 6 hours versus someone that's relaxing. It looks the same if you measure the brain activity for either one. So keep that in mind. You can sleep or you can relax, but they both do the same thing with your brain. And also, he talked about how relaxation can improve attention and self-control. He said your past and future depend on the present moment, and the moment is now. So some of us may not know how to relax, and that's okay. Everything that we learn over time. We learn through practice, right? As we said earlier, having presents or gifts is something that doesn't take or require any effort from you. All you have to do is accept it. When it comes to being present in the moment, you have to make an active and intentional decision with being, not in the past, not in your mind, thinking about something else while you're doing other things, but actually being right there every step of the way. Focusing on that step, not the next step, not the step you already made, but that step. So meditation can definitely help you clear out your thoughts so that you can focus better. It can help you relax more. So even if you take 10, 15 minutes a day, just doing some mindfulness techniques or meditation techniques, and we can discuss this on another live, or if you want, you can send me a DM or email me so that I can send you some resources that I have on mindfulness and meditation. This is something that I also include in my daily routine as well, as much as I can. Some days I don't, but I try to do it as often as I can. But it's definitely a helpful and a resourceful, technique to use, especially if you're someone who maybe thinks too much or doubt yourself, or you feel like it's too much on your plate and you don't have enough time in the day, or you're not really present in the moment, like having a conversation with someone and thinking about something else entirely. Being present in every aspect of your life, in every decision that you make and everything that you do, that definitely takes time. I'm also working on this as well, but being present in the moment is very essential, and focusing and being intentional about what you're doing, right? So that was Takafumi Kawakami, and welcome to those who just tuned in to Meeting of the Minds Mondays. Our topic today is staying woke, presence versus the present, knowing the difference. All right, so we are going to watch our last video, and then we're going to talk about it, sum up everything that we've learned so far, and go from there.
can easily train yourself to listen faster.
When I was growing up as a child, I was teased very often for being so distracted. Teased for being distracted, teased for not being able to concentrate. And you know, had I not been born a few decades ago, I probably would have been given one of those colorful acronyms like ADD or ADHD, branded and probably drugged for not being able to concentrate, right? It wasn't until I was in my early 20s when I graduated from university. I grew up in Australia and I left and went to Hawaii, where I joined my guru's monastery. It was a cloistered traditional Hindu monastery where he taught me how to concentrate. And that's really what I want you to keep in mind, this concept of being taught how to concentrate. It's in my humble opinion that most people can't concentrate today for two reasons. One is we're never taught how to concentrate. And second is we don't practice concentration. Right? So how can you do something if you're never taught how to do it? And how can you be good at something if you don't practice it? Let's take a little survey here. How many of you here in the audience, growing up in school, were formally taught how to concentrate? Can we have a show of hands? Like formal training in concentration in school, like classes every week. Okay, one person and two people in this entire audience, right? So here's a question for you. How many of you in this room here, growing up, were told to concentrate? Isn't that amazing? People tell us to concentrate, but they don't tell us how to. And I got told to concentrate all the time. Dandapani, concentrate on eating your food. Dandapani, concentrate on doing your homework. Anybody want to show me how to do it? How many of you here have children? Okay, how many of you tell your children to concentrate? Do you show them how to? No, right? And then you wonder why they can't concentrate. You can't expect somebody to do something if you don't teach them how to do it. And then if they want to be good at it, they have to practice it, right? So if I wanted to play for the Chicago Bulls or dance for the San Francisco Ballet Company, you know, I ask people this question all the time in my talks. I ask them, how many hours a day should I practice? The general answer is usually about 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. And then I ask them, so after 6 months, can I play for the Bulls? The answer is usually no. After a year? No. But I'd be better at basketball, right? I'd be a better ballet dancer. So imagine if you practice distraction 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. What would you be good at after 6 months? Distraction. After a year, you'd be really good at distraction. After a year and a half, you'd be an expert at distraction. You'd write the New York Times bestseller on distraction. TEDx would invite you to come and give a keynote on distraction. You'd get on stage, you'd be so distracted, you'd forget what you were supposed to talk about. Right? That's how good you are. All right? But the truth is, we don't practice distraction 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. The truth is, we probably practice it more like 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. The average person sleeps, what, 7 to 8 hours, to say, roughly. So we're awake for about 16 hours of the day. Let's just say on average, we're practicing it 13 hours a day, 7 days a week distraction. And then you wonder why you're so good at it. That's the law of practice. The law of practice is that we become good at whatever it is we practice. Whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. If you practice something over and over and over again, you become really good at it. And that's why people are so good at distraction, because it's what they practice. Why aren't people good at concentration? Because they never taught it and they never practice it. They don't need to be drugged. They just need to be taught how to do it. Children don't need to be drugged. They just need to be taught how to concentrate. And then they need to practice it, just like anything else, to become a good tennis player, to become a good dancer, the performer, anything. Practice, practice, practice. And then people say things like, technology are great distractors, right? Smartphones. Oh, I have this thing so distracting, my smartphone. The internet. Are they distractors? I'd like to say no first, and then yes. But mostly no. Why? Let me tell you a story. So when I left Australia after university and went to Hawaii to be a monk, it was a very traditional monastery, so when you join a monastery like the one I did, you literally have to give everything up. Your family, your friends, everyone you know, everything you owned. And when you got to the monastery, you're given a set of robes, a set of beads, and a MacBook Pro laptop. Yes, I did say a Mac. So every monk got a Mac, and when iPhones came out, we had an iPhone as well. And it's really interesting. It's always fascinating to me to see people's reactions when I tell them about monks with Macs. You know, and I remember this lady once that came to visit the monastery, and she asked me a question, and I said to her, why don't you send me an email, and I could email you back a response my teacher wrote up, and it will give you some nice insights. She looked at me kind of strangely and finally asked, is it okay for monks to use email? I said, of course it's okay for monks to use email, as long as there are no attachments. Some people are just getting it now. So technology in itself is not a bad thing. It's actually a beautiful thing, as long as we're in charge of it. But if every time your iPhone beeps or makes a sound and you turn to it and you go, yes, master, how can I serve you today? Then you live in that world of distraction. It's training you to be distracted. But if you actually use technology, then technology is not a bad thing. When I say yes earlier, that technology can be distracting, there are some aspects of technology that can be distracting. For example, in the Mac, you have notifications that drop down. But that's as easy as clicking on it and turning it off. Turning off those notifications and not responding, but choosing what you want to engage with. Right? So technology in itself is not a bad thing. The question is, do we choose to engage in it or not?
What does a coach do? It's an external environment so that someone else can give you feedback, because you're still...
So how do we become good at concentrating? We start by understanding the mind. Right? All of us have a mind. It's the most powerful tool in the world. Built a smartphone, it's put machines that drive itself on Mars. Yet there's no manual for the mind. Right? When was the last time you saw a manual for the mind? Yet you buy a point-and-shoot camera whose only purpose and duty is to point and shoot. It comes with a 100-page manual. Right? Yet we have the most complex tool in the world, our mind, and there's no manual. So the first thing I learned when I went to the monastery was to learn how the mind works. Because once you know how the mind works, you can control it. And once you can control it, you can focus it. You can't focus or concentrate something you don't understand. So how does the mind work? From the monk's perspective, from the monk's experience of the mind, there's two things that you need to understand. One is there's awareness, and one is the mind. So I'll take a few moments to explain this to you and share what they are. So imagine awareness as a glowing ball of light, like an orb that can float around. Okay, so that's awareness. Now imagine your mind as a vast space, a vast area with many different sections within it. One area of the mind is anger, jealousy, food, sex, happiness, joy, science, art. And this glowing ball of light called awareness can travel within the mind, and it can go to any area of the mind it wants to go to. And when it goes to a particular area of the mind, it lights up that area. When it lights up that area of the mind, you become conscious of it. So to give you an example, your friend invites you to go see a movie, for example, okay? Hey, Doug, do you want to go see Mission Impossible 16? Sure, let's go. Okay, so you go to the theater, you're watching, you sit down, the lights are all on, you're chatting with your friend, the lights dim, the movie starts.
Meet the Me's, welcome to Meeting of the Minds.
He or she can take your awareness to any area of the mind they want you to go to, right? They can take you to a sad area of mind, to a happy area of the mind. The movie can get really exciting, thrilling, suspenseful, scary. And it's 90 minutes later, you see two words on the screen and it says, the end. And you turn to your friend and you go like, wow, that was an amazing movie. But you paid $13 or $14 or $15 or whatever it is to allow the director to take your awareness to different areas of the mind. And this happens on a daily basis. Each day we allow someone or something throughout the day to take our awareness from one area of the mind to another. when we allow a person or something to do that, we're being distracted. The art of concentration is the art of keeping awareness, that ball of light, on one thing for an extended period of time. Every time that ball of light drifts away, we bring it back. It drifts away again, we bring it back. Right? So that's the theory. You have awareness and you have the mind. You are not the mind. When people say my mind wanders all the time, technically that's a false statement. What wanders is your awareness. Your awareness is moving within your mind. So that's the theory of it. So let's do a simple little practical exercise to see if this actually works or it's just some monk voodoo talk. Okay? So for that, I need audience participation. I need all of you to sit up straight in your chair. Okay? So if you have anything in your lap or hand, just place it down on the ground. Sit up straight in your chair with your spine straight. If you're leaning back, just sit forward a little bit. I want you to close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in. And I want you to become aware of the room. Become aware of the chair that you're sitting on. Become aware of any sounds you might hear, the sound of my voice, the humming of the projector or air conditioning. Now I want you to become aware of the most recent wedding that you attended. Do you remember whose wedding it was? Who was getting married? Did you approve of the marriage? Try and think everything you can about the wedding. Did you go by yourself? Did you go with your family? Was it a large wedding? Hundreds of people? Or was it small and intimate with maybe 20, 30 people? How was the food? Was it good? Was there alcohol? Did you drink a lot? Do you even remember how much you drank? Do you remember what the bride was wearing? Did she make a good choice? Now I want you to remember the most recent holiday that you went on, the most recent vacation that you went on. Do you remember where it was? And what kind of vacation was it anyway? Was it a yoga retreat? Was it a wellness trip? Was it educational? Was it adventure? How long did you go for? What was the weather like over there? Try and think everything you can about this vacation. Did you spend a lot of money? How was the food? Spicy, bland, bad? Did you get sick eating the food? Now your eyes are still closed. I want you to become aware of the room again. Become aware of the chair that you're sitting on, the sound of my voice, humming of the air conditioner or projector. Now slowly open your eyes and settle back in your seats again. Okay, that was a very simple exercise to prove two things to you. One is there's a clear separation between awareness and the mind. And second is you can actually take your awareness and move it to any area of the mind that you want it to go to. Because you just allowed me to do that. I took your awareness from this room, becoming aware of this chair that you're sitting on, the sound of my voice, the air conditioning, the projector, and you went to the wedding area of the mind. And the longer you stayed there, the more you thought about the wedding. How do I know you were thinking about it? Because I had my eyes open, and when I asked you a question like, did the bride make a bad choice? Some of you were like, with a dress. Yes. So I knew you were thinking about the wedding, right? And then you went from the wedding area of the mind and you traveled all the way to the vacation area of the mind and you stayed there. And while you were in the vacation area of the mind, you weren't thinking about the wedding or about the room. And then you went from the vacation area of the mind back to the room again. And I made you think about the chair, the room, and you weren't thinking about the wedding or the vacation then. And this is what happens all day. We allow people and things around us to take awareness from one area of the mind to another all day long, from the time we wake up. And therefore, we become distracted. To be concentrated is to be able to keep your awareness on one thing for an extended period of time. How do we practice this? We practice this by doing one thing at a time throughout the day. What's the best way to develop concentration? The best way to develop concentration is to bring that practice into our everyday life. Look at opportunities throughout your day. In your average day, ask yourself, what's a great opportunity to practice concentration? How many of you have a spouse or partner that you live with? quite a few of you. Every time you speak with your spouse or your partner, keep that ball of light, that awareness on that person. It drifts away, bring it back. It drifts away, bring it back. The more you practice this, the more you become better at concentration. Give her or him your undivided attention. So if you speak to your spouse for 2 hours a day, what a great opportunity to practice concentration. Every time you speak with your child, practice concentration. Parents come up to me all the time and say, Dandapani, how can I teach my children to concentrate? Very easy. You learn to concentrate first. You know, there's an old saying that goes, monkey sees, monkey do, you know. And if you can't concentrate, you can't expect your child to concentrate. And if you don't teach your children how to concentrate, how can they possibly learn how to concentrate? They can't. The benefits of concentration are endless, right? When you're able to concentrate, you're able to focus all your energy into a single given point. Life is a manifestation of where your energy is flowing. And if you can't concentrate your energy, the things that you want to manifest in your life becomes very, very challenging. So learn to concentrate by doing one thing at a time. Bring this practice into everything that you do throughout the day. Make it a part of your life. Practice, practice, practice. Keep bringing awareness back and keep it focused on one thing at a time. Share this knowledge with your children. Be an example for them so they can grow up. Let's stop drugging our children and solve the simple problem by teaching them how to concentrate and helping them to practice concentration. Be unwavering in your focus. Proceed with confidence because life is meant to be lived joyously. And it all begins by learning how to concentrate and staying focused. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. So that was Dandapani, and he is a monk. And, you know, I think they're very peaceful and very focused. So I felt like, you know, someone living that lifestyle would have a good idea on what it means to be present in the moment. So as we talked about earlier, presents or gifts are something that you have to do no work for. You put no effort in. All you got to do is receive it or accept it. And if you don't accept it, then you just don't get it. You know, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to bargain for it. You just receive it, right? Free of charge, nothing to it, nothing on your part. When it comes to being present, you have to do the work in order to get it. And you have to continue to do the work in order to keep it, right? So he made a lot of great points in this video. And once we are done with the live, I will share the links in the comment section so that way you can, you know, watch this on your own time if you missed any part of it, and, you know, really go back over it. You know, once you get it in your system, you got to keep going over it so that it doesn't die. You know, if you don't use it, you lose it. So he talked about how most people can't concentrate because of two reasons. Either they were never taught or they don't practice. And he asked the question, how can we be good at something if we don't practice? You can't expect someone to do something and not teach them how to do it. But once you know how to do it, then you have to practice, right? You got to practice at it. So if you spend 8 hours a day, 6 days a week on being distracted, how good would you be at being distracted? Pretty good, right? After 6 months, after a year, 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, you'd be pretty good, right? So how about being present, practicing that for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week? How good would you be at being present? You would be great at it. So keep that in mind. Whatever you practice, whatever you do consistently, repeatedly, is what you will be good at. Okay? The law of practice is becoming good at what you practice. So there is no manual for the mind. We have to learn how the mind works in order to control it and in order to focus it. And in order to learn how the mind works, you have to take time out in order to study the mind, in order to study how it works, in order to study where you are mentally. Like, how distracted are you? How focused are you? What do you concentrate on? And the thing about it is, we all have the ability to concentrate and to be aware and be present in the moment. We just don't do it enough. And like he talked about in the video, you know, you can be told, concentrate. But if you were never taught or never shown how to do it, then it's kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do? And you're kind of winging it and doing whatever you think it is, right? But when you're taught and you practice it, you are able to get better at it. So the next thing that he talked about is how there's two parts. There's awareness and there's the mind. And he separated it to where awareness is one thing and the mind is something else, but they can coincide together. So he said the awareness is the glowing ball of light. And the mind is the vast space with different sections in it, like feelings, anger, hunger, and the list can go on and on. You can add what you want in the blanks. There's different sections of the brain, right? And he talked about how the art of concentration is in the art of keeping awareness on one thing for an extended period of time. So like he said, when he asked a question about, how did you feel at the wedding? It went to the wedding part of the brain. And then he asked about the food. It went to the food part of the brain. Then he asked about the room. It went to that part of the brain. So at every point when he asked a question and asked more questions about whatever topic he was on, it just went deeper into that part of the brain, and you weren't focused on any of the other parts. So like I said, it is possible for you to stay aware and be present in the moment without thinking about so many other different things. But that is work, and that takes practice, and it takes time to get there, because once your mind starts to drift on something else, you have to bring it back. It's your job to bring it back, to stay focused in the moment. He talked about how you can take awareness to any part of the mind, and you bring practice into every area of your life. So like you said, a partner that you have, concentrate on them. Give them undivided attention. Learn to give whatever you're doing undivided attention. Doing one thing at a time. Now, for me personally, this is something that I'm working on as well, because I tend to do more than one thing at a time. But in order for me to get better focused and to be more present in the moment, I have to do one thing at a time. So I am learning, and I am putting that into practice. And I think we all should do that so that we can be better at being present in the moment. Okay. He said, in order to teach others, you have to learn first. You have to be the example. You can't just do as I say, not as I do kind of mentality. You have to actually set the example by doing it, by learning it first so that you can teach others. The whole point of us being here is to pass on what we know to other people, to create children in a sense of learning something new and sharing it with other people so that they can know what to do as well, and not try to figure it out on their own when you have the answer. Don't be selfish with knowledge, okay? All right, so he talked about how life is a manifestation of where your energy is going. So you want to focus on your energy. You want to focus on where you're going with that energy. You want to focus on what kind of vibration your energy is on. If it's negative energy, you want to move it towards the positive. If it's positive, you want to stay positive, right? Like I said, learn to do one thing at a time. One thing, just one at a time. Because we all have the same amount of hours in a day. We all have different things that we have to do. But trying to do multiple things at one time will only burn yourself out faster, and you may not get as much done. Do the harder stuff first, so the easier stuff that comes along, it won't take up too much of your time. But learn to prioritize where you are and what needs to be done over what you just want done, right? And another thing He said to make it a part of your life. So make it a daily habit. Learn to take time out to be present, even if it's 10, 15 minutes to start, and add minutes on as you get better at it so that you can be able to be the best that you can be, right? Because that's what I want for all of us, is to be our best selves, to be able to come on and be present and to really give our best in every area. All right. And then he said, be unwavering in your focus, and that takes time. All right. So that was Dr. Pondy. Earlier, we watched a video with Elizabeth Acevedo, and she is an artist, and she also runs, and she was doing a marathon, or practicing, training for a marathon. And she was talking about how she was focusing on the next step, focusing on the landing, when in actuality, you should be focusing on the step that you're taking now. Don't worry about the destination. Don't worry about the end goal. Focus on the journey and where you are right now so that you can stay present. Be present in your mind. Don't just think about, a whole bunch of things, especially if someone's talking to you where you're focusing on this thing and that thing instead of the conversation or what you're going to say or how you're going to reply. Focus in on that moment. Like Donna Pani said as well, give your undivided attention. Something she said earlier was, we may not see the roots, but we carry the fruits. And that could be the opposite as well. We can start something and someone else finishes, or someone else can start it and we finish, but it's all not on us. So let's not take on that responsibility, that burden, as if we have to do it all alone. We are not in this alone, so we don't have to put that stress or pressure on ourselves to think that we're going to do it alone, because, it may start with you or it may finish with you, but it's not all about you. All right, and then Takafumi Kawakami talked about being present and how being present keeps you free from suffering, how your action can create your past and determine your future, and how to keep an objective point of view. He said meditation is a great way to condition you to be more mindful and less judgmental, as well as influence the brain and increase your emotional intelligence, as well as brain activity. And then he said that you can pay undivided attention to what you're doing when you practice meditation. All right. And relaxation, if you look at the brain activity between someone that's relaxed and someone that's sleeping for 6 hours, it looks the same. So relaxation is also a key component in meditating. And it can improve attention and self-control. So your past and your future depend on what you're doing now, which is the present moment. So as we said before, presents and gifts are all great, but you don't have to do anything for it. You don't have to work for it. The appreciation level might not be there, but when you actually put the work in to be present and to be in the moment and to really take it a step at a time and to enjoy and embrace the journey, not just focus on what you have to do or what didn't go well or what was or what is and what's to come. Focus on what is. Focus on right now, because then your stress level will go down. You'll be able to learn how to relax, and it takes time. Like I said, do meditation or mindfulness practices, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, and you'll begin to see a change. And I also practice meditation and mindfulness. And, it definitely helps me. So I hope that it helps you. So we are going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for everyone that tuned in,
Book your
for everyone that
perfect place to stay.
participated.
Booking.com. Booking.
For those that will view this later, definitely appreciate each and every one of you. So, yeah, no problem. I hope you got something from it. So, just a few announcements before we close it out. So, Showcase Your Talent show will be this Wednesday, 2 days. Today is the last day to register to either be a sponsor If you have a business, if you have a product or service, if you're offering anything and you want to showcase that during the show, you can definitely sign up to be a sponsor. We have features where if you just want to highlight your art and what you got going on, you can do that. Or we have contestants where you compete to win a $100 grand prize plus a feature spot in the following month. Today, like I said, is the last day to register. If you register after today, you will sign up for next month's show. All right. So, make sure you tune in. Look out for the Zoom link. We'll be sharing that very soon. If you just want to view and support that way, you have the opportunity as well. We also have, of course, Meeting of the Minds Mondays. We have this once a month where we talk about different topics from business to self to art and everywhere in between. If you have any topics that we haven't discussed yet that you would like us to discuss on here, definitely email us so that we can add it to our queue, because we are here to serve you. We also have Q&A Wednesdays once a month. We already did our Q&A for this month, but we just pose a question so that we can collab and interact and get to know you a little better. You also have an opportunity to ask us whatever you like. If you want a guaranteed answer during the live, you can email us in advance, or you can take your shot and put it in the comment section or the question box for it to be answered. If you have any questions that you want us to pose during the live as the topic, definitely email us so that we can add it into our queue as well. And then we have Freestyle Fridays, which is in 3 segments. So first or fourth Fridays are open mic segments. We have second Fridays, which is battle art, where you battle against other artists for a chance at $25. So far, Sirocco Shaman has been dominating for the past couple weeks, claiming that winner spot. Next month's theme will be Digital Revolution. So if you're interested, definitely stay tuned. Second Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You definitely want to hop on and request to join, and that's how you pick. Viewers are the determiners of who wins. So if you want to vote, definitely view. All right, and we have third or fifth Fridays are feature segments where we focus on a specific entrepreneur and what they're doing and how they're impacting their community. In place of that for right now is the Art Awareness Fundraiser, third Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here. If you are interested in being a part of that, you can just hop on, or you can email us or DM us to let us know that you want to be a part. But we are raising awareness for the beauty, necessity, and uniqueness of art based on your culture, your background, where you're from, and how, we can go all around the world and see art very differently. So we're raising funds so that we can come to a place near you. We also have YouTube subscriptions. We have email subscriptions. So if you want to know everything about Intellects and what we do and be the first to know, definitely subscribe to our emails. We also have member fees. We have promo options. We have flyer making options. We have voiceover options. We have merch. We have books. We have Intellects, a Place for Entrepreneurs podcast. We are going into season 3. So if you are interested in being a feature on our podcast, definitely reach out to us via email or DM so that we can connect with you and set it up. We have some great stuff coming up, but definitely look out for the emails. If you are not on the list, you definitely want to sign up for that so you could be the first to know. We have a lot of things in the works, like seminars and workshops and things of that nature, but I won't go into detail now because you're not the first to know. All right, but thank you again. I am Intellects, your host, founder, and CEO of Intellects Artrepreneur Agency, the Indeed for Artists, where we connect entrepreneurs and creatives and intellectuals with experts, networks, and platforms to promote your unique artistry. So we are here to serve you. Again, thank you again for tuning into today's topic. Presence versus the present. Being present in the moment is so important. Being mindful and aware every step of the way. Don't focus on the end, focus on the journey, and just enjoy it. All right, so thank you again, and I hope you have a great Monday and an awesome week. Until next time.